We are pleased to welcome Jeannette Hoffman, who is a Republican strategist in the great state of New Jersey, and Phil Alagia, Chief of Staff, Essex County Government, and also a Democratic strategist. Welcome to State of Affairs. You like our new set?
It's beautiful. I love it.
Congratulations on a new show.
Thanks to our partners here at NJTV in Newark. Let me ask you, we've been talking to all these candidates running for governor in New Jersey in 2017, take over in 2018. Let me ask you, if you were to say the three issues that this race for governor post-Chris Christie will turn on, what would you say they are?
Absolutely affordability and the economy, property taxes, and schools. To me, those are the big three. I think New Jersey has been having a tough time grappling with those issues. Year after year, we have property taxes that keep skyrocketing. We have a gas tax that's making our state more expensive. I think the people of New Jersey want to hear how these candidates are going to address these issues.
But take a step back, Phil. How does a candidate talk about property taxes, right? As opposed to saying, say a candidate says, I'm going to lower your property taxes. Wait,
doesn't everyone say that? Everyone says they're going to lower them, and they go up every year.
Devil's advocate, is it not the mayor's job, the city council's job, to make decisions about what the property tax levy should be in a community? And what does the governor have to do with that?
There's the tax rebates that the state sends out. Is it a gimmicky thing to try to give some property tax relief to people? But you're right. Your property taxes are made up a small portion by county government, a small portion by municipal government.
What's the biggest piece?
Board of Education.
Yeah.
You're running your school system, 60 to 70% of your budget.
So say someone says, they're running for governor, I am going to massively increase, I'm running for governor, and I'm going to spend more money. Imagine this candidate runs for governor. Phil, both of you advise candidates who run for major office, right? You know every level of government. Candidate says, I'm going to run for office, and I'm going to say, I'm going to spend more state money of your dollars, tax dollars, on public education than ever before. Winning campaign, Phil?
I don't think anyone wants to hear about more expenses. People want to hear do more with less, and let's cut corners, and let's bring the cost down.
But isn't it that state aid to local government for schools that could potentially keep your property taxes down?
Well, right. I think that is a huge issue in New Jersey, and one we haven't been able to tackle for decades, because the way the school funding formula works, there are haves and have-nots. Some districts get funded very, very well by the state, and others get nothing. So they rely on taxpayers to make up the difference. And also because we have almost 600 municipalities and school districts in New Jersey. That's a lot. We have a lot of small little governments out there. So conceivably, if these towns keep running these small little governments, your tax dollars are going to go up, rather than if they regionalize and merge some of their essential services, you can see more shared savings there.
But no one wants to give up control. Every little town wants to name their principal. Everyone wants to name their police chief. Everyone wants to, it's my little school. And the funny thing is, if you go to a town like Montclair,
don't you dare say that. See, Phil has to go to my town. Don't you dare say. Go ahead, say Montclair. Go ahead.
But when you talk to some people, they're like, we don't mind paying more property taxes if it means a better school, or if I can keep my principal, or I can keep, for some.
If I can keep my. But Phil, play this out for a second. If you're going to truly play the game, what do most people want? Is it part of the problem? I don't want to get philosophical. I want to be very practical here. If we're talking about the state of affairs of the fiscal reality of New Jersey, or what's the fiscal state of affairs of New Jersey, isn't part of the problem that what people want, in part, is driving up the cost and the fiscal problems in New Jersey? Because what they want is their own school district, their own chief of police, their own fire department, and for a community that's that small, it's not efficient enough, and you shouldn't have your own fire department. You shouldn't have your own chief of police. You shouldn't have your own school district, because there's a bureaucracy that goes along with that, right? So why can't a politician run and say, you want the truth? You can't handle the truth, and I'm going to tell you.
That's true, and I think you're going to see a lot of hard decisions need to be made. I think, look, Governor Whitman's been talking about regionalizing school districts since the 90s. Has it happened? No, because of a lot of the political pressure. So I think if any candidate wants to be honest with the people of New Jersey,
honest, what would he or she do?
He or she's going to say, look, if you want local control, if you want small government, it's going to cost you more. Here are ways that we can regionalize services. You can still have the services you need and still have it be somewhat small and local. Like the Princetons, they just regionalized Princeton Borough and Princeton Township. That's a perfect example. Is it a huge, massive government? No, they're still local government. They're still close to the people. It can be done.
You look at Bergen County, and I believe there's a
70 communities.
Yeah.
They have more pieces of fire apparatus than the New York City Fire Department. Because every little town has a fire truck, a fire engine, a car for the chief, this, that. And if you add them all up, there's actually more pieces of equipment in North Jersey for a much smaller population.
By the way,
and
Essex County only 22. 22 communities.
Yes.
I just want to clarify that.
22.
I knew you weren't going to talk about
But there's
Essex.
some small communities in
Right.
Essex County and West Essex that, you know, we share a regional school system, and it's efficient. But we have a grammar in Fairfield where I live, which I love, and it's a great town. We have a grammar school that's part of Fairfield, and we go to regional high school. But we have a superintendent for the grammar school and a superintendent for the high school.
Let's do this. On the pension issue, what would you say to those who say this massive pension crisis, which I've been talking to every candidate running for governor about? By the way, our team's going to put up our Twitter handle and also our Facebook page. We're continuing to get questions from all kinds of really smart, engaged people. I love when people say people don't care about politics. You care about issues and you care about who's going to be New Jersey's next governor. Log on. We'll take those questions. They've been very helpful. Here's the thing. I love when people say, what do I care about the pension crisis because it doesn't affect me. I'm not a government employee. But, Philip, it does affect, and I'll come back to you, Jeannette, it does affect every person in the state. How?
Well, because we have, first of all, there's a huge amount of government workers who are dependent on pension. As you like to say, for full disclosure.
Go ahead.
I work for the County of Essex. I am a member of the New Jersey State Pension System.
You wanted to be there for you and your family.
I based my career. I could have gone into the private sector. I've made some decisions that, I've been working in government all my life. But my plan is when I hit a certain age, that I'm going to have a retirement. Now, I'm willing to pay more in my contributions.
You would.
If it's in lieu of not getting a pension at all, in lieu of it going a belly up, because I don't want to add.
Are you afraid of that?
Yeah,
Are you afraid of the pension system going belly up?
I'm at an age now where it's hard for me to get a new career. I mean, it's a big part of, certainly the private sector probably pays more than the government sector for the stuff that we can do. So we made decisions based on getting a pension. And a lot of government workers, the police, the fire, the teachers, they've all made decisions to go into government work thinking that the pension would be there when they retire. We have to make sure it's there.
Make the case.
But what about the rest of us, right? I mean, the pension
system. You mean non-government?
Non-government
Those of us who do not work for the public sector,
right,
Phil.
exactly.
Go ahead.
The state pension and health benefit system has gotten so big over the past 2 decades, and Republicans and Democrats are guilty of giving a lot away, giving the store away to public employee unions.
Giving the store away?
We're not giving. Look, they made promises they could not keep. We are paying so much for our pension benefits.
That's not the fault of public employees.
No, it's not. But if they want to make sure that their pension, like Phil wants to make sure that he has a pension, right? We need to make sure that these reforms are there so the fund is solvent. I mean, this is happening all over the country. And taxpayers in New Jersey should care about this issue because when we're laying out a huge chunk of our budget for the pension, we're not addressing schools. We're not addressing health care. That's money that we can't put forward to lowering property taxes because it's already committed to the pension and health benefits fund.
Jeannette, let's clarify this. The budget right now is $35 billion, give or take a few million. So Governor Christie introduces his budget. $2.5 billion or so he's proposing in fiscal year 2018 go directly to a state contribution to the pension crisis. That's a huge chunk, more than most governors, a lot of the last governors, Democrats and Republicans put together. That's way more than most.
And less than the actuaries say he should put in.
Which, by the way, you think is a good thing?
I think that, again, if you have to take it from somewhere else. You have to take it from schools or from health care or from charity care. So there's not enough dollars to go around. But
hold on. Sorry for interrupting, Phil. The more money that comes out of the state or from the state to go into it, it comes from somewhere else.
It has to.
But for those who argue that Chris Christie or other governors haven't done enough, even though, frankly, governor doesn't mean me defending him, he has put in more than most.
More than any other governor.
Well, there's a conundrum here because those are saying, the more you take out, it's not going to health care, it's not going to education. So what's the answer?
Well, I think the answer is we have to reform the system. We can't continue to pay for something that we can't afford. We can't afford these Cadillac benefit health packages. We need to reform it, reform the pension system for people who are
You're
coming
saying
into
Phil
the
has
system.
a Cadillac he doesn't deserve? I cannot believe you just
I
said
love
that.
Phil, and I would never say that about him. But I'm just saying we can't make promises we can't afford to keep.
All right, Phil, stop. We have a smile on your face. I've known you, full disclosure, I've known you long enough to know you have something to say.
I'm not in the private sector with all these perks and being able to go wherever I want. You know, I'm a
I pay for my own health
hard
insurance.
government worker, and you know, one
Enough
of the things.
said, Phil. Word association, I've been doing this with everyone who's come into our studio, here at the Agnes Vera studio here at NJTV. Word association, I got to do this with you first.
Uh-oh.
Donald Trump. You don't have enough time to think.
Optimistic. I'm optimistic about Donald Trump.
Are you?
After his recent address to Congress, I think he's presidential. I think he's trying to unite the country, and I think he's tackling big issues.
This show will air a few weeks after that. Some things may happen in between that address to Congress, Phil, and when the show airs. Do you think some tweets or some other things might happen, Phil?
I'm sure they will. The word that comes to my head is disappointment. I'm disappointed when I have to speak to my friends from Europe and they ask me, how did you elect Donald Trump president? And, you know, they say that tourism, foreign tourism, I read a study this morning, is going to go down about 500,000 people, which is revenue to the country because they don't feel welcomed by the new Trump administration.
Really?
Yep.
Your response to your friend, Phil?
Yeah, listen, I don't agree with everything that the president is doing. I do have some concerns about the travel ban. However, I think if he works with Congress and tackles the big issues like jobs, like our national security, I think we're going to be okay. I think we need to keep our eye on the ball. I think the president needs to keep his eye on the ball and get off the internet and stop tweeting and focus on the
You
real
say
issues.
stop tweeting?
I don't think it's doing the country any service. Right now.
I'm a fierce, loyal Democrat. But as an American, there's nothing I hope more than he does a phenomenal, great job as president, because that would be good for the country. So far, I don't see it.
You're not She says optimistic. You say?
I'm not optimistic at all. The country, it seems like
I
we're
see the glass
spread.
half full.
I see it half empty.
That is it. By the way, Jeannette, I want to thank you so much. Phil, thank you so much. That is it for this particular edition of State of Affairs here at NJTV Studios. I'm Steve Adubato. I want to thank you so much for watching.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by RWJ Barnabas Health, New Jersey Resources. NJM, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters, TD Bank, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State, and by Employers Association of New Jersey.